Much debate after Nitish Kumar resigns as to whether non-performing chief ministers whose states have done badly in the Lok Sabha should also consider taking the same route. Let's now bring you somebody who has gone online and spoken about his defeat very candidly. Omar Abdullah is somebody who's actually now reaching out via email. He's writing to his voters saying, "Tell me where I went wrong." This after the national conference was actually routed. Farooq Abdullah lost his seat for the very first time, and the BJP picked up three seats in Jammu and Kashmir, with the Congress also drawing a blank. Let's go straight now to Omar Abdullah, who's joining us from Srinagar. Omar, thanks very much. A very unusual decision to actually and perhaps a sign of a changing politics, to use social media, to use email to reach out to voters. But some would say to do this is actually to in vain try and substitute it for mass contact. Why did you decide on this electronic outreach post your debacle?
Well, I think because, Barkha, you can't meet people 24/7. There are only a limited number of hours during the day when you can meet people, but the forum of email is available to you 24 hours a day. So this email outreach, so to speak, is actually to supplement the in-person meetings that I've already started with the senior party colleagues and also with party functionaries. And from here on, it'll be travels into the districts and visiting assembly constituencies and trying to interact directly with the voters and people and get a sense of what went wrong. I mean, I've already had such an amazing response on email. I never expected the sort of numbers in terms of people that have written with really reasonable and well-argued points as to what went wrong and what can be corrected. And I think that's exactly what this exercise was about. But those people who think that this is all I'm doing and that this is not about actual people-to-people contact couldn't be more wrong. As I said, this is just to complement and supplement that.
Okay, but may I ask you, in your first response, as you assess your electoral defeat or your party's electoral defeat, what do you think went against you? Was it anti-incumbency against your government in the state? Was it regional anti-incumbency? Or did you also bear the brunt of the massive anti-incumbency against the Congress, with whom, of course, you were in partnership with?
Well, I think there were different factors in different parts of the state. In Jammu, the two parliament seats there can be no denying that this pro-Modi sort of air that had been created, that swept large parts of Jammu and Udhampur parliament constituencies. Of course, we had to deal with our own anti-incumbency as well. Kashmir Valley, Modi wasn't a factor here. We paid the price for a whole lot of other things. I think on the top of that list would have to be the execution of Afzal Guru and its handling after that. There can be no denying that the summer of unrest in 2010 and its aftermath is something that still resonates amongst the people. Some of the policies that the government put into place with regard to employment, we had what was called a new recruitment policy, through which we seem to have managed to alienate a large part of the educated youth of Jammu and Kashmir. So these are, a handful of reasons that immediately have come forward as through this email and in contact with my workers, and these are essentially what we paid a price for. We paid a price for the perception of Shupanya being a rape and murder, as opposed to what the CBI found. But that's just the way it is.
But do you believe, in hindsight, that staying with the Congress was a mistake? It was not as if the alliance didn't have a share of problems, a share of ups and downs. Do you believe that staying with the Congress was a mistake?
Well, Barkha, we consciously decided that we wanted this alliance to continue. And there was no way we could have continued in government in the state if we had fought against each other in parliament. We didn't want to have a premature assembly election in the state. We didn't want an assembly election at a time when there was a whole lot of other factors that were in play. And therefore, recognizing that we couldn't exactly oppose each other in a parliament election and then sit down together and govern until November, we decided that the best thing was to fight these parliament elections together, and that's what we did.
But is this a partnership that is going to continue? Because you have to take a decision for the assembly elections.
I don't know. I honestly can't say. I would be amazed if there aren't very strong voices in the Congress as well that would not like to see this alliance continue into the assembly elections. I know there are voices within my party as well that are calling for the same thing. But I think that's a decision. We are in government together at the moment, and we'll just wait and see how it plays out.
So there's a good chance that the partnership would probably end?
I'm not going to get into forecasting that. Clearly, we are in partnership for the duration of this government, and beyond that, we'll wait and see what happens.
Okay. Talk a little bit about what's happening nationally. Given the UPA debacle, we've seen the CWC meeting today end with offers of resignation from Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi and them not getting accepted. Now, at least, Omar, you're out there on Twitter acknowledging your mistakes, communicating directly with people, writing emails to people. But we haven't even heard from Rahul Gandhi except for that one statement where he refused to take questions.
Look, it's not for me to tell people how they should run their political parties. And I'm sure the Congress in its own way will introspect. These results have been catastrophic for them. They've never had such a low number of members elected to Parliament. And I'm sure they realize that this is an opportunity to learn and to take corrective action. What steps or what methods they will adopt to ascertain the lessons that need to be learned, that is something they have to decide to do. This is my way of doing it. I'm trying to reach out to as many people as possible, try and get as much objective feedback as possible, and then use it to make changes. I'm going to start implementing what I've heard from people, starting from my day after tomorrow's cabinet meeting itself, and I'm going to start rolling out steps so that people realize that it's not just about ascertaining feedback from them, but actually implementing it.
Give us an example of an email that you've received and a change you would act on.
Well, I think the biggest surprise for me, and I must confess this, is that there have been very few abusive emails. You know, when I put my email address out on Twitter, I was actually pretty much expecting a deluge of really abusive, nasty sort of personal attacks on email. And I must confess that having read more than 1,000 emails so far, I think the number of really abusive, difficult ones was probably only 3 or 4. So, what has amazed me is that people have actually taken the time to sit and compose reasonable, well thought out arguments of what went wrong. And these are people from within the state, from Kashmir, from Jammu, from Ladakh, from the rest of the country, and even people from outside the country as well. And as I said, they've talked about the problems with regard to governance. They've talked about the problems of the youth with regard to this new employment policy. They've talked about how we need to rein in the police. And I think that's a point that is very well taken. The sort of restrictions that we place when dealing with law and order situations, that's something that has sort of resonated amongst people. Making the security forces more accountable for the use of force is clearly a point that is very well taken. There are a number of really good suggestions that have come that, as I've said, I'm actually going to start. I've already had a meeting with my senior police people today to share some of this feedback with them, and we're going to start implementing that. But some of the decisions, like with regard to employment policies and welfare measures for employees, we're going to start dealing with from day after tomorrow itself.
Okay, in the end, you said you did not want to advise any other political party on what to do. Yet, through this particular campaign, you did express an opinion twice on decisions taken by your alliance partner, the Congress. Once, when the government wanted to announce an inquiry into what's come to be known as Snoopgate, you said it was inappropriate to do so in the last lap of the government. And another time, when Rahul Gandhi skipped the PM's dinner, and you said, well, if he'd already met the Prime Minister, why didn't they put out that statement first? Do you think these are two examples of how the Congress botched up its campaign?
Well, I've always called it as I see it. I mean, that's for better or for worse, that's the way it is. And I sincerely disagreed with the move to appoint a judge in the dying days of a government. I mean, it would have been different if we were uncertain about the continuation of this government. But we knew that we were going to have a new Prime Minister regardless of who was elected, whether it was a UPA 3 or an NDA or a third front, we were going to have a new Prime Minister. And therefore, for an outgoing government to appoint a judge to look into who was then your #1 political rival and allegations against that person was, to my mind, wrong, and I'm glad I spoke up, and I'm glad the government didn't go ahead with this decision. If the cabinet order was for December, it should have been implemented in December. And if it wasn't, we definitely had no business implementing it 2 days or 3 days before the Prime Minister steps down. 1. 2, on the whole question of Rahul not attending the Prime Minister's dinner, my only limited point was that, I mean, why come out with a statement after the news has broken and it's been sort of misrepresented? I mean, if Rahul went and met the Prime Minister and apologized for his absence at the dinner and thanked him for his contribution, then Rahul had done what he had to do. And therefore, perhaps on that day itself, a statement from his office saying that, look, he's not going to be in the country, and therefore has met the Prime Minister about his absence. And this would have been a non-story rather than the huge issue that it was made out to be. And Rahul was made to look bad in this, which I thought was unnecessary.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
That's why I said what I did.
All right, last question. You've campaigned with Rahul. You're somebody who's seen to have known him. What would be your advice to him? You're reaching out to people after your defeat. He's not reaching out to anybody.
Look, it's never been my place to advise, and that too sort of in an open forum like this. I'm going to come to Delhi at some point over the next few days. I'm going to sit down. I'm sure we'll have a nice long chat, and we'll share our experiences about what this campaign has meant for each of us, how we've reacted to the defeat. I mean, this is not the first time I've lost. I lost in 2002 and I bounced back from there. This is the first time he's facing this sort of a situation. I have no doubt that he'll brave it out and bounce back from here. It does look rather dark when you've immediately sort of faced this sort of a setback. But there are ways out from it, and I'll look forward to sitting and talking about those with him.
Well, Omar Abdullah, thanks for talking to us. At least you're being communicative. That's something certainly I think that Mr. Gandhi could take a lesson out of your book or a leaf out of your book from. Thanks so much for joining us. And that brings us to the end of the Buck Stops here tonight. See you tomorrow night at 9 p.m. From the entire team, good night.